weekend, and they had other professions. They were farmers or whatever. It's not like it is today with this kind of malignant greed. I just want to read a quick quote to you, which really is telling. When John Kennedy wanted something to be in the press, he would call a New York Times writer, Arthur Kroc. So when Arthur Kroc had a piece, he said, a high source in the White House said. So that would be Kennedy. And when Kennedy, in 1963, around September, October, Kennedy had given orders. He was pissed off because the CIA went beyond its charter and actually started the war in Vietnam, which, is completely insane. Kennedy wanted to take the CIA and fold it into the State Department and the Defense Department, have generals kind of take over. He said that there's a malignancy that the White House could not control. And this is the quote from Kennedy: "If the U.S. ever experiences an attempt at the coup to overthrow the government, it will come from the CIA and not the Pentagon. The agency represents a tremendous power and total unaccountability to anyone." 6 weeks later, they exploded his head. And, these, presidents to me, Alex, are part-time workers. They come in and they're told, okay, you can do this and you can do that. Then they show them the Zapruder film. And they say, you can do what you want, but if you cross us, we'll do what they did to, well, they didn't have to kill Nixon. They just, ruined him in a different way. They don't have to kill people anymore. They can destroy them, with information, false information.
I agree. Where do you think it's all going, this arrogance?
It's all going with what?
Where do you think all this arrogance is leading us?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking today, about 10 years ago, I was with my friend Gore Vidal. We were going to lunch in Hollywood, and he was really angry. He got in the car and he said, and I don't mean this as a total disrespect, because I don't think the American people are stupid. I think they're ill-informed to a degree. It's not a question of intelligence. It's the way information is shaped and presented. And he said he was amazed that there wasn't a revolution, a literal revolution, the way the government was, crushing the working class and starting senseless wars and, taxing people to a degree that was, extortion. And, and he's no raging maniac. He's, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Alex, I have a question for you, if I may.
Sure.
The Congress has a 10% approval rating, and 94% of them are reelected. I mean, I know there's a joke in there somewhere, but it's...
Well, I'll tell you what's happening there. People like their particular congressperson, or they just vote along party lines. And so the 8 to 10% approval rating that Gallup shows for Congress, the lowest in history the last 6 years, is basically a vote against the government itself without politicizing a name. When it comes to their Republican or Democratic leader. But going back to Gore Vidal, who we interviewed many times, including in person, he was a very, very smart person and exposed false flag terror and so much more. But the late Gore Vidal was absolutely right that the American people needed to have a, quote, revolution. I don't even so much get mad at them. They are in a trance. They are being brainwashed.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. This has been going on, and so when I say they're arrogant, I mean this has been going on for decades, Alex, and they just keep floating different things that some of them work and some of them don't. And you're talking about Eddie Bernays a while back, the inventor of public relations. You know why he was hired initially? Because there was a mining disaster that the Rockefellers owned, and women and children were slaughtered by the so-called National Guard, which was really working for the Rockefellers. The miners were striking for just decent pay and safety conditions.
That was in Colorado, wasn't it?
No, I think it was in Illinois.
There were a bunch of those there where the Rockefellers had whole mining towns mowed down. Oh, the Illinois one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the most. And so Eddie Bernays came in and said, and helped them spin it and say that, oh, the people died because a stove tipped over. And so that was the beginning. And there was a guy who worked for the Rockefellers. His name escapes me now. But he said, look, you guys have 100, and this is in the teens, Alex. You guys have $100 million there. And the word public relations wasn't around.
Hold on, stay there. Tell us the public relations propaganda story on the other side. Then we'll get into your book, Deep Research with George Noory and others. What really happened with the Malaysian airline flight? This is really important. Stay with us.
Attention Alex Jones listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to Alex Jones unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-562-5136. Try it now to listen to Alex Jones 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-562-5136. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear Alex Jones untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-562-5136.
Hey, sorry I'm running late. I had to stop and get my vitamins for the month.
I got mine in the mail yesterday from DiscountNutritionShop.com, so I'm here, totally on time.
DiscountNutritionShop.com?
Yep, they're a lifesaver in more ways than one. They have all the nutritional supplements you need, the major brands you know, plus you can save up to 10%. Write down this number, 888-908-4548.
Huh?
888-908-4548, or just go to DiscountNutritionShop.com.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of our lives, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is clear. Get prepared, and you get prepared now. Now the only question left is, where do we begin? My Patriot Supply is here to help. Call 800-247-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. We're even covering the cost of shipping. Are you willing to rely on the government and FEMA in the event of an emergency? Call 800-274-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there is a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call now, 800-274-3070. That's 800-274-3070. Call right now.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139.
When the day comes where the world changes forever, you can be ready at a moment's notice. With Survivalist Camps, the ultimate fully functional off-the-grid survival bug-out house that's completely mobile and ready to go. All the comforts of an RV, but custom built to outlast any other trailer. Learn more at survivalistcamps.com. Due to overwhelming response, limited inventory is available. Be ready with survivalistcamps.com. Survivalist Camps, providing your basic needs to survive.
It's time to kick some ash because cigarettes have met their match. Smokers are switching to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig because when you kick ash, you kick tar and smelly smoke too. LeSig smokes the competition with real people customer service, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee, and same-day fast free shipping. Become a vapor today at LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes. Kick some ash.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control.
Richard Belzer is our guest. We were just talking about the arrogance of government and corporations intensifying. But the ether in which all this corruption grows is that we do have an industrial society. There's more food, there's more diversions, there's more of a dumbed-down population. Some of that's our own doing. And so as we become corrupt and decadent, the elites are given a very, very long leash. And they're attempting to put us on a leash now, a police state, to protect themselves. And that's where this whole situation's going. But you were getting into Edward Bernays and some of the propagandists. There were Rockefeller exterminations in New Jersey, Illinois, Colorado. I mean, used to they just sent in Pinkerton Security or the Army, and they would just mow down whole groups of people that didn't,
families.
Yeah, ride them down with horses, you name it, kind of like the bonus marchers at the end of World War I. But go ahead and break that down.
Well, you were talking about women's health before, and Eddie Bernays, the tobacco industry was his client. And they wanted to figure out how to sell cigarettes to women because it was, it wasn't cool for women to smoke in the early 20s or late teens. I think it was early 20s. So Bernays got a bunch of debutantes and girls, college girls, whatever, to go to Times Square and light up a cigarette, and they called it Torches of Freedom. And they likened it to women's equality. So it's like the women's movement started with cancer. I mean, millions of women have gotten, emphysema and lung cancer because Eddie Bernays and the tobacco industry glamorized cigarettes and made them a symbol, calling them torches of freedom, torches of death.
Well, Richard, that's a microcosm of everything the globalists do. They take legitimate civil rights movements, cultural movements, you name it, and then they attach their people to it to then Pied Piper lead the group, when what they really want to do is enslave them. And that's why the CIA founded Miss Magazine and Gloria Steinem on record, not to empower women, but to break up families.
CIA, by the way, you know that.
Absolutely, CIA, and that's declassified. So how do we navigate something like this?
Well, I think, thank God, for you and like people like George Norrie and others who are open to these ideas. And the thing is that millions of people are with us, Alex, and it's just that you don't see it on the front page of the corporate press because they're terrified of people getting information. That's why they try to doctor information. But, 1984 goes both ways, Alex. They can watch us, but now we're watching them, and we can expose things sooner than ever before and just keep hitting the nail on the head. I mean, it's like the myth of Sisyphus. He rolled the rock up to the top of the hill only for it to fall down the other side. But in his mind, it was the triumph of getting the rock up there, not the futility of it. I don't want to get too esoteric, but I think there's a lot of brave, smart people in America with big hearts who are angry, confused, and misinformed. And, we got to stick together. And like the thing in the shooting of those police officers, this is a class. You remember Operation Paperclip, where we imported Nazis? Part of those Nazis that we got out of Nuremberg were propaganda experts, and they counseled people in our government to keep racial strife going, because when you divide people, you can control them better. Race relations could have probably gotten along much quicker than they have, and there's still clear, serious problems. But there are forces at work that keep this in play, and that just kills me. It breaks my heart that they would set one against the other when we're all under this umbrella of oppression, and yet we're fighting each other instead of the umbrella.
And I guess that's why we have George Soros, the admitted Nazi collaborator, funding
No, that's not true, by the way. It was unwitting. You can criticize him, but that's not a fair accusation. I study this quite deeply.
Well, I want to debate that with you because I saw him on 60 Minutes say that he's not ashamed of what he did because it helped him survive, and that he'd have been killed if he didn't help round up people. Well, if somebody stuck a gun to my head and said round up people, I'd say pull the trigger.
Well, yeah, you have a point. But
that's all esoteric arguments.
When that happened, he was a kid. He was a little kid.
Yeah, he was like 14.
Yeah, well, you could be terrified when you're 14, but you and I have much more fruitful things to discuss.
No, I hear you, but then why would George Soros, the guy that funds so much to the left wing, why would he, the fake left wing, just like Edward Bernays led the fake women's movement to control it, why then would he spend $30+ million to help stir up the Ferguson stuff? Because it's a distraction from the fact that Obama hasn't...
What is he spending the money on, Alex?
Do what, sir?
Where's that money going?
It's going to just foment and stir stuff up. I don't want to go too far with it, but let's get your comment on Soros on the other side. Then let's shift gears into the big mystery. Someone is hiding something. The new book by Richard Belzer, George Norrie, and David Wayne. I can't wait to read it because I know these guys have done the